Sarah Chen's boots echoed through the maintenance tunnels of New Haven, humanity's last great underground city. The curved titanium walls, designed to withstand the pressure of 3 kilometers of rock, reflected the blue glow of her plasma torch. As lead systems engineer at 23, she knew every centimeter of these tunnels, or thought she did, until today. "Control, I'm still tracking that power signature," she reported into her comm unit. "It's getting stronger past junction 42. But that's impossible. There's nothing mapped beyond this point." "Confirmed, Engineer Chen," Control responded, static crackling through the connection. "But your readings match our sensors. Whatever's drawing power from the grid, it's down there. Just be careful. We can't afford to lose our best troubleshooter." Sarah smiled despite her unease. 6 years of keeping New Haven's ancient systems running had earned her that reputation. When the power grid started showing impossible draws 3 days ago, they'd sent her to investigate. Now, following her sensors deep into unmapped territory, she was beginning to wonder if some mysteries were better left alone. The tunnel ahead ended in a smooth wall of black material, unlike anything in New Haven's construction. Her sensor readings were off the charts. As she approached, lines of soft blue light rippled across the surface, responding to her presence. "Control, are you seeing this?" She raised her wrist camera. Only static answered. She was too deep. The wall wasn't a wall at all, she realized. It was a door. And after 3 centuries of waiting, it was opening. Beyond lay a vast chamber that defied comprehension. The space stretched up into darkness, larger than New Haven's main cavity. But it was what occupied the center that made Sarah's breath catch. A massive figure, curved and sleek, its metal scales shimming with latent energy. It was a dragon, or at least something built to resemble one, easily hundreds of meters long. As she approached, suspended walkways lit up, guiding her toward what could only be a control center embedded in the creature's chest. Her engineer's mind was already cataloging details. The seamless integration of biological and mechanical components, the crystalline structures that seemed to pulse with their own inner light, the way every curve and plane spoke of technology far beyond humanity's current capabilities. "This isn't one of ours," she whispered. "This isn't even hegemony tech." The hegemony, the alien coalition that had driven humanity from the surface centuries ago, had nothing this elegant in their arsenal. Their ships were brutal, efficient things, all sharp angles and overwhelming firepower. A soft chime echoed through the chamber. Sarah froze as lines of light raced across the dragon's surface, converging on its head. Massive eyes, like faceted sapphires, opened and fixed upon her. Neural pattern identified. A voice resonated directly in her mind, ancient and feminine, human variant, young. Analytical capabilities exceed baseline. Engineering expertise detected. Acceptable candidate located. "I'm Sarah Chen," she managed to say, fighting the urge to run. "What? Who are you?" "I am Sentinel-class biomechanical warship TSS Aurora, though my creators called me Dawn." The dragon's mental voice carried both power and a strange warmth. "I was hidden here when the others fell, waiting for one who could understand my systems. Your people have forgotten much, Sarah Chen, but perhaps that is for the best. The knowledge of what we were, of what humanity once was, carries a terrible price." Before Sarah could respond, alarms began blaring throughout New Haven. She recognized the pattern. Proximity warning. Something had breached the outer defensive perimeter. "The hegemony comes," Dawn announced, her mental voice hardening. "They sense my awakening. Your city has minutes, perhaps less. You have a choice to make, Sarah Chen. You can return to your people, die with them in these caves. Or," the dragon's chest plates shifted, revealing a neural interface pod, "you can help me remind the hegemony why they feared humanity enough to drive them underground." Sarah thought of her family, her friends, everyone in New Haven. They had survived for centuries by hiding, by being cautious. But maybe survival wasn't enough anymore. Maybe it was time to remember how to fight. She climbed into the pod. "Show me," she said as neural interfaces extended toward her temples. "Show me everything." The last thing she saw before the connection took hold was Dawn's massive form beginning to move, ancient weapons charging as the dragon prepared for war. After 300 years of darkness, humanity's last hope was about to take flight. The neural connection hit Sarah like a tidal wave of light and information. Centuries of history, combat protocols, and technical specifications flooded her consciousness as Dawn's systems merged with her own. She gasped, overwhelmed by the sheer magnitude of what the dragon warship contained. "Breathe," Dawn's voice guided her through the chaos. "Your mind is adapting remarkably well, but we must hurry. Hegemony dropships have breached the upper caverns." Through Dawn's sensors, Sarah could see it all. Massive alien vessels punching through New Haven's outer defenses, their crystalline hulls bristling with weaponry. The city's automated turrets were responding, but their outdated weapons barely scratched the hegemony shields. "We need to evacuate the civilian sectors," Sarah said, her thoughts translating instantly into action through the neural link. Dawn's internal systems began scanning New Haven's layout, mapping escape routes. "The hegemony will expect survivors to flee deeper," Dawn replied. "They do not know about my launch tunnel. It leads directly to the surface." Sarah felt her heart skip. The surface, where no human had set foot in centuries. But there was no time for fear. Through their link, she could sense Dawn's weapons powering up, ancient systems awakening with devastating potential. "Warning the city now," Sarah said, interfacing with New Haven's communication grid. Her voice echoed through every sector. "This is Engineer Chen. We have a way out, but you need to move fast. All civilians proceed to Sector 7. Follow the emergency lights. This is not a drill." The first hegemony troops were already breaching the upper levels. Tall, crystalline beings whose bodies refracted light in impossible ways. Their weapons fired beams of concentrated energy that melted through New Haven's reinforced walls like butter. "They're trying to herd people toward their dropships," Sarah realized, watching through Dawn's tactical displays. "They're not just here to destroy the city. They want prisoners. The hegemony has always preferred to capture rather than kill." Dawn's mental voice was cold with ancient hatred. "They believe suffering teaches better lessons than death. Shall we show them how well humanity has learned?" Sarah felt Dawn's weapons through their link. Particle beams, graviton projectors, systems that defied her understanding even with the neural interface providing technical data. More importantly, she felt the launch tunnel's massive doors beginning to open above them, revealing a path to the surface that had remained sealed for centuries. "Get our people to safety first," Sarah commanded, surprising herself with her certainty. "Then we teach them exactly what humanity remembers." The next few minutes were chaos. Through their combined sensors, Sarah coordinated the evacuation while Dawn's automated defenses kept the hegemony forces at bay. Thousands of people streamed into the massive chamber, their fear turning to awe at the sight of the biomechanical dragon. "Internal capacity at maximum," Dawn announced. 2,342 humans secured in stasis chambers. But the hegemony approaches our position. Sarah watched as the alien troops discovered their chamber, their crystalline forms refracting the emergency lights. The leading officer raised its weapon, its crystalline body pulsing with recognition. "Impossible," its translated voice echoed through the chamber. "The Guardians were destroyed. We made certain. You missed one," Sarah said through Dawn's external speakers. The dragon's massive head turned toward the hegemony forces, ancient weapons charging with a sound like rising thunder. The battle that followed was brief but devastating. Dawn's weapons tore through the hegemony troops with surgical precision, each shot calculated to avoid damage to the surrounding cavern. Sarah felt every movement through their neural link, her mind working in perfect synchronization with the ancient warship. As the last hegemony soldier fell, Sarah initiated the launch sequence. Dawn's massive form began to move, mechanical muscles and energy fields working in harmony as they prepared to break humanity's centuries-long exile. "Surface breach in 30 seconds, Dawn announced. "Sarah, you should know. Once we emerge, we will be detected by every hegemony ship in the sector. The entire fleet will come for us." Sarah thought of the thousands of lives in their care, of the centuries humanity had spent hiding in the dark. Through their link, she felt Dawn's approval of her response, even before she voiced it. "Let them come," she said, as Dawn's wings began to unfold. "It's time they learned that humanity doesn't just survive in the dark. We learn. We adapt. And now, we strike back." The launch tunnel's final doors opened above them, revealing the star-filled sky that no human had seen in generations. As Dawn's engines powered up for the ascent, Sarah sent a final message to all their passengers. "My fellow citizens of New Haven, hold on tight. Today, we stop hiding. Today, we show the hegemony that humanity remembers how to fly." With a roar that shook the ancient chamber, Dawn launched upward, carrying humanity's future toward the stars. And war. The night sky erupted with light as Dawn breached the surface, her massive form casting shadows across the ruined landscape below. Sarah gasped at her first view of Earth's surface, a wasteland of crystalline formations and alien structures stretching to the horizon, glowing with an eerie inner light. "Hegemony terraform protocols," Dawn explained through their link. "They've been reshaping the surface to match their homeworld." But look there. An overlay appeared in Sarah's mind, highlighting patches of green breaking through the crystal forests. "Earth resists. Life adapts, just as humanity has." Their moment of reflection was cut short as alarms blared through their neural connection. Hegemony ships were rising from hidden bases across the continent, their crystalline forms catching the starlight as they moved to intercept. "Multiple hostile contacts," Dawn reported, calculating optimal escape vector. "Wait," Sarah interrupted, an idea forming as she processed tactical data through their link. "Those ships aren't designed for atmospheric combat. They're space superiority vessels." "Correct. Their maneuverability is reduced by 47% within atmosphere, but they still possess significant. Can you broadcast on all frequencies, including their military channels?" Dawn's curiosity flowed through their connection. "Yes. What do you intend?" Sarah smiled. "Let's announce our presence to everyone." The message she sent was simple, broadcast in every human language and the hegemony's crystalline harmonics. "To all surviving human enclaves on Earth, New Haven has fallen, but we are not defeated. The Guardians are awakening. Look to the sky. Remember who you are. Remember how to fight." "Bold," Dawn commented as the first hegemony ships opened fire. "But what makes you think?" The response came faster than either of them expected. From hidden bunkers and underground cities across the continent, signals began broadcasting on frequencies that had been silent for centuries. Some were just simple acknowledgments. Others were battle-ready responses, but they all carried the same message. Humanity had not forgotten. "Multiple launches detected," Dawn announced, genuine surprise coloring her mental voice. "Human vessels emerging from hidden facilities. Basic designs, but impressive adaptations of salvaged hegemony technology." Sarah watched through their tactical display as dozens of small ships rose from the ruins, converted mining vessels, improvised fighters. Even ancient human military hardware kept functional through generations of dedicated maintenance. None were a match for the hegemony fleet individually, but together. "Your people never stopped preparing," Dawn realized. "All these centuries, they were building, planning, waiting for a chance." Sarah finished. "You're not the only one who knows how to hide and adapt. Now let's show them what a Guardian can do." The battle that followed would be remembered for generations. Dawn moved like her namesake, breaking through the hegemony formation with a combination of raw power and impossible grace. Her ancient weapons tore through crystalline shields that had proven impenetrable to human weapons, while her own defenses shrugged off retaliatory strikes. More importantly, she served as a rallying point. The human ships coordinated their attacks around her, striking from multiple angles, using the crystal forests for cover. What they lacked in technology, they made up for in creativity and determination. Energy spike detected, Dawn suddenly announced. Massive power signature, it's similar to my own. A section of crystalline forest ahead of them began to shift and crack. Something vast was emerging. Another biomechanical form, but different from Dawn. Where she was sleek and elegant, this one was broader, more heavily armored. Guardian-class Sentinel Stormbreak. The new arrival announced on all frequencies. Engineer Chen, Sentinel Dawn, requesting combat coordination. More signals began broadcasting as other hidden guardians emerged from centuries-long slumber, awakened by Dawn's return. Each had chosen its own pilot, its own hidden enclave of humanity to protect and prepare. The hegemony thought they found all of us, Dawn explained to Sarah as they moved to coordinate with their new allies. They never understood. We Guardians didn't hide to survive. We hid to prepare, to wait until humanity was ready to rise again. Sarah felt tears in her eyes as she watched more Guardians join the battle, their ancient weapons turning the tide against the hegemony fleet. Through their neural link, she sensed Dawn's fierce pride, not just in her fellow Guardians, but in humanity itself. They tried to break us, Sarah broadcast to all frequencies, human and Guardian alike. They drove us underground, tried to make us forget who we were. But we remembered, we adapted, we survived. And now we show them why they were right to fear us. Dawn finished, her mental voice carrying both promise and warning. The real war begins today. As the sun rose over Earth's crystalline surface, humanity launched its first coordinated offensive in centuries. It was just the beginning. The hegemony still controlled most of the planet, and their main fleet would arrive soon. But for the first time in generations, humanity was no longer hiding. They were hunting. 3 months into the War of Liberation, Sarah stood in Dawn's neural chamber, studying tactical displays of Earth's crystalline surface. What had begun as a desperate uprising had evolved into a true resistance. Dozens of Guardians now fought alongside hundreds of human vessels, slowly pushing back the hegemony's hold on their homeworld. But something was wrong. They're adapting too quickly, Sarah said, watching recordings of their recent battles. Each engagement, their ships show new countermeasures. It's like they're learning our capabilities in real time. Through their neural link, she felt Dawn's concern. The Guardian's consciousness was troubled, ancient memories stirring beneath the surface. There is something I must show you, Dawn announced. Something I had hoped to keep hidden until we were stronger. Follow the neural path I'm opening. Sarah felt herself drawn deeper into their connection, past the combat protocols and technical systems, into what she could only describe as Dawn's memories. She saw Earth as it had been millennia ago, a world of gleaming cities and impossible technologies. Humanity at its peak, reaching for the stars. And she saw the Guardians as they were meant to be. We were not merely warships, Dawn's voice echoed through the memory. We were the bridge between human and machine consciousness, designed to evolve alongside our pilots. Each battle, each neural connection, was meant to push the boundaries of both our species. The memory shifted, showing the first contact with the hegemony. Their crystalline ships appeared in Earth's skies, not as conquerors, but as refugees, fleeing something darker at the edge of known space. They came seeking sanctuary, Dawn continued. Their own world was dying. We offered them shelter, shared our technologies. And in return, Sarah watched in horror as the memory revealed the hegemony's betrayal. They had studied the Guardians, learned their weaknesses, and struck with weapons designed to sever the neural bonds between pilot and ship. Countless Guardians fell, their pilots lost to the neural feedback. Those of us who survived went into hiding, Dawn explained as the memory faded. We chose pilots who could help us evolve beyond our original limitations. But now the hegemony uses our own adaptive principles against us. Each battle, Their crystalline tech analyzes and counters our capabilities. As if to emphasize the point, alarms blared through their connection. The tactical display shifted, showing a massive hegemony fleet emerging from hyperspace, larger than anything they'd faced before. Multiple contacts, Dawn reported. Their energy signatures. They've completely redesigned their fleet. These ships are specifically built to counter Guardian capabilities. Sarah watched as the new hegemony vessels descended into atmosphere. They moved differently, their crystalline forms pulsing with familiar energy patterns. They had weaponized their understanding of Guardian technology. All Guardians, all human forces, fall back to defensive positions, she broadcast. But even as she gave the order, she knew conventional tactics wouldn't save them this time. Dawn, she said through their private link, you said the neural connection was meant to push boundaries, to evolve. What exactly does that mean? It means, Dawn replied carefully, that our current form, this body, these weapons, they're not our true potential. The Guardians were designed to transcend physical limitations, but the process was never completed. The risks are better than extinction, Sarah finished. Through their link, she could feel the truth Dawn had hidden. The next stage of evolution would irreversibly merge pilot and Guardian. There would be no going back. The choice must be yours, Dawn said softly. What the hegemony never understood was that humanity's greatest strength isn't technology or weapons. It's your ability to leap into the unknown, to transform yourselves in the face of impossible odds. Sarah watched as the hegemony fleet approached, their weapons already beginning to tear through the Resistance's defenses. Other Guardians were falling back, their ancient weapons no longer enough against enemies who had learned to counter them. She thought of New Haven, of centuries spent hiding in the dark, of all the humans who had kept fighting, kept preparing, never losing hope. They had learned to survive in the shadows. But survival wasn't enough anymore. Show me, she said, stepping deeper into the neural interface. Show me how we evolve. As the hegemony fleet descended toward Earth, Dawn's form began to change, light rippling across her surface as pilot and Guardian prepared to become something entirely new. The true war for humanity's future was about to begin. The transformation was unlike anything Sarah had ever experienced. As her consciousness merged completely with Dawn's, the boundary between human and machine dissolved. They were no longer pilot and Guardian. They were something new, something that had never existed before. Their shared form began to change, crystalline structures growing and integrating with Dawn's metallic scales. But unlike the hegemony's cold crystals, these pulsed with organic warmth, channeling energy in ways that defied physics. What are we? Sarah's thoughts rippled through their unified consciousness. We are evolution. They answered themselves, their merged voice carrying echoes of both human and Guardian. We are what both our species were meant to become. Through their enhanced senses, they could see the other Guardians engaging the hegemony fleet. The resistance was failing, ancient weapons proving useless against the crystalline ship's adapted defenses. But they could also see something else. Patterns of energy, flowing through reality itself. They broadcast on all frequencies, their merged voice reaching every Guardian and human pilot. The hegemony didn't just steal our technology. They stole our potential, but they could only copy what we were, not what we could become. Join with us. Evolve. One by one, the other Guardians and their pilots made their choice. Light bloomed across the battlefield as each pair underwent their own transformation, becoming hybrid entities of crystal, metal, and consciousness. The hegemony fleet's attacks suddenly passed harmlessly through them, unable to affect their evolved forms. Impossible. The hegemony commander's transmission carried notes of fear. This evolution was theoretical. The risks. The risks were worth taking. Sarah/Dawn responded, their merged form moving through space in ways their separate selves never could. Humanity doesn't fear change. We embrace it. The battle that followed redefined warfare. The evolved Guardians didn't just fight the hegemony ships. They transformed them. their crystalline energy reaching into the alien vessels and awakening the organic components the hegemony had tried to suppress. The truth became clear. The hegemony's own ships were failed attempts at achieving what humanity and the Guardians had just accomplished. Your own world died because you feared evolution. Sarah/Dawn broadcast to the hegemony fleet. You chose stagnation over change, control over growth. Earth offered you a chance to learn a different way, but you responded with conquest. Across the planet, the remaining human resistance watched in awe as the evolved Guardians dismantled the hegemony's forces, not through destruction, but through transformation. Each defeated ship became something new, its crystalline structure reorganizing into forms that bridged the gap between organic and mechanical. The hegemony commander's flagship was the last to fall. As Sarah/Dawn's energy reached into the vessel, they shared a final message. You came to Earth running from extinction. You chose to become conquerors rather than face your fears. But today, we offer you the same choice Earth offered centuries ago: evolve with us, or fade into history. Hours later, as Earth's sun rose over a transformed landscape, the full impact of their victory became clear. The hegemony fleet was gone, but not destroyed. Every ship had chosen evolution over extinction, their crystalline forms now working in harmony with organic systems in ways their makers had never imagined. Sarah/Dawn hovered above the ruins of New Haven, watching as humans emerged from underground for the first time in centuries. The surface was changing, hegemony crystal structures merging with Earth's natural ecosystem to create something entirely new. Life adapting, as it always had. What happens now? Asked one of the other evolved Guardians, their merged consciousness both familiar and strange. Now we rebuild, Sarah/Dawn replied. Not what was lost, but what could be. The hegemony fled across space because they feared something worse than us. They're still out there, in the darkness between stars. And we'll be ready, another evolved pair added. Not by hiding, not by fighting, but by continuing to grow, to change. Sarah/Dawn extended their senses toward the stars, feeling the vast potential that awaited them. Humanity had not just survived, they had transformed themselves into something greater. The age of hiding was over, the age of evolution had begun. As Earth's transformed surface glittered beneath them, Sarah/Dawn shared a final thought with all their unified kin. We are no longer just human, no longer just Guardian. We are the next step, and we have only begun to evolve. Above them, the stars beckoned, promising not conquest or survival, but endless possibilities for growth and change. Humanity's greatest journey was just beginning.